If you're here because you like Defenders, if you're here because you like photography, I'm happy you're here. We were called up by Land Rover Norway. They had this beautiful 75th anniversary edition Land Rover Defender. And if you know anything about me, you know Defenders are near and dear to my heart. I do own an older Defender. This is a paid commercial shoot, but this part of the shoot is not paid. So I don't think we have to, yeah, we're not bought out. But anyway, take anything I say with a grain of salt because I'm just happy to be here. It's been rad. They gave us the car for a week and they said what we need is a pretty clean, sharp, interesting photo with some cool architecture in the background. I said, no. But I can go to the source of what makes Norwegian architecture so great, and that is the granite. The granite, the rock that covers all of Norway. Here, this local source is called Larvikite. It's from Larvik, and this is where they get it. And this granite is what makes fancy kitchens cost way more than they should. It's what makes nice roofs so heavy and warm and perfect, and it's what makes Norway so great. We called and we begged and they said, sure, you can bring the Defender in here. And it's fucking awesome, isn't it? It's a shame because the idea behind the spot was clean and really like flawless, but of course it's a quarry. Nothing here is clean and flawless. It's brutal and muddy and dirty, but I guess it's as good as we could have asked for, except for the fact that we were lied to by the weathermen yesterday. They said it was going to be clear and it wasn't going to snow and it wasn't going to rain, but guess what happened last night? It snowed and it rained, and now we're stuck with all this crap that we're gonna have to figure out later. This might be a Photoshop job. So the hard part about this shot is trying to place the corner where the walls meet each other in a spot on the car that doesn't like cut the car in half or make the car look unflattering. In which case, I might have to step further around here, show more of the front of the car, and just accept the fact that there's a pile of snowy rocks back there and fix it in post. But I don't want to. But I have to. I gotta accept I'm not gonna win it all. Yeah, okay, then we have something. Now the problem is the hot spot is right in the middle of the Defender logo. What if we went hard the other direction? Yeah. That's kind of cool too. And then I can put the 70 back on, because I got more room to play with here. I should just trust yesterday me. Yeah, it was here. The weird thing is there's a weird rule of thumb in these kinds of shoots where you end up putting all your gear or where the client stands is typically the best looking spot. I don't know why, but it always ends up being that way. And I always ask people to move. So the gear is right here, which means I'm probably gonna have to just stand right here and admit that the rule is always right. Okay, 70's going back on. 70-50, 70-50. So the sun is gone on this spot. I think we've used it for all it's worth. There's one photo that was basically like the whole idea behind the shoot, and that's perfectly from the side of the car to show like the boxy silhouette. And we know of one more spot further up that has lower walls, so maybe there's gonna be more sun up there. I think it's worth taking the risk that we pack the important stuff down and migrate up, and hopefully we find the sun rather than just staying here and getting cloudy shots that don't really suit anything that we've shot so far. So now we pack up, we head out, and we pray. Shooting telly, I'm not very good or used to shooting telly, but for a place like this where the backdrop isn't as big as the car, I want to make the backdrop feel bigger in comparison. So a telly lens, something telephoto, will kind of squish the distance between the subject and the background. With a polarizer, you can't use the lens hood on anything else, but with the telly lens, you have the trap door, which means you can adjust the polarizer while the lens is on. The lens hood is on. Today we were shooting on the Sony A1. It is way overqualified for this work. I think the A7R5 would have been almost better, maybe. It's 51 megapixels, so it's plenty big enough to play with the files in post. Yeah, I like it. Maybe go a little bit higher. When I shoot cars, I tend to shoot at the eye level of the driver, but on this car, it's so high up, the eye level is almost as if you're standing. So there has to be some sort of compromise. I gotta shoot a bit lower. And since I'm shooting telly, the further back I go, the more zoom I use, the kind of lower it looks. Cleaning the ground, cleaning the car, cleaning the tires, wiping my own ass. I gotta do everything around here. We need flash for this shot because we're shooting on the shaded side of the car, so I want to balance out a bit of the details and make, for example, the shoulders on the Defender, the shoulders are so strong all the way down the car. We're never going to see that in the shaded spot of the photo. So what we do is we fake it a little bit, pretend like the sun is more over the car than it is. We hit the car with flash almost straight from above, just a raw bulb. We don't need any diffusers, not today. But something where you can't see the hot spot on the car, you just see a bit of a glow on the shoulders of the car. I want details, but a bit more abstract. Not so much context in the background. I just want full focus on the details. So for something like this, I want to focus on the geometry of the Defender because a lot of it is very pointy and square, and I really want to lean into that. So I'm focusing very hard with the light and with the macro lens on just basically this area. But I'll shoot it vertically, so you'll get a little bit of extra detail in the background. It's not so much as to add to the story, but it helps with defining the car because it's just raw granite. So the idea is lift this up super high, make it even with the car, and underexpose the backgrounds. Right around there, so I don't see the reflection of the light in the window. Then I'll frame it up slightly high, and I'll just, with the trigger off, I'll adjust the exposure so it's black and I can't see my own reflection in the car, and then turn the trigger on again, get the focus right, and shoot. So it's very simple, very clean, minimal detail, but enough storytelling to kind of let the car shine. That's it. So So I'll go around, pick little details on the car, and do the exact same thing. All with a macro lens, because I think when you get close enough, or when you get closer to the car, I think the macro lens really makes these things pop. It sort of makes them larger and more imposing in the photo. So that's the idea. And then while the light is here, I can get up close and just shoot really abstract details where if you don't know the car, you wouldn't recognize it. All right, interior shot. Interior how-to. It's gonna look a bit crazy, but it makes sense in my mind, I promise. If we turn off the car, I can... No, should we just leave the car on? Yeah. So, step one is find the angle. That's gonna be here. Since it's a Defender, we're gonna go from the driver's eye line. I think it's kind of cool. Shoot a little bit down. That way you get a bit more of an overview, like the center console and some of the details in the seats and whatnot that you wouldn't get if you shot further down at like the steering wheel level. We're gonna leave the car on, leave all the screens on as like vanilla basic as possible. So we're gonna take a few photos from here. One of them is going to be a photo of just all the ambient light. So it's gonna be exposed for the outside environment, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us a plate to sort of build on. Next, we're gonna cover all the windows with a blanket, which I should do, yeah, I'll do that for the next photo. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us kind of like a green screen effect in the windshield. It's gonna reflect quite a lot, but what it's also gonna do is it's gonna keep the brightness from the exterior lighting down to a minimum. So when we blend the photos again later, all we have to do really is lighten, blend the photo. And that's pretty much it. Then we just move the light around to different places, try to fill up the car with light, stack all the photos in Photoshop as layers, and then light and blend all the way through and pick and choose which segments we want to keep. So it takes a little bit of foresight and a little bit of planning, but yeah, it's the last photo of the day. So, yeah, good, done. That's, yeah, that's how to make a murder. Is that a reference people still get? It's only been like 5 years, right, since that show. Okay, anyway. I've run out of thinking power. That's it. The Land Rover Defender. It's cool. I love the car. I think it's rad. As a Defender fan, you couldn't ask for anything more. The spec, the 75th Anniversary Edition, I think it's polarizing. People love it or hate it, but I think it's pretty cool. Why not? It's fun. It's green. Who doesn't like green? Green's dope. Sorry for the fit. Apologize. It's what I got. It's what I brought. And yeah, full focus on the environment. I think we did really well. I think we told the story we want to tell. And yeah, I think we got a handful of really, really good photos. So like, comment, subscribe, all that. See you in the next one. Peace.